going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bolt Standard Podcast. Got your hosts here, Dylan Martin and Justin Harley. Dylan, what's up, man? Tis the season, man. I'm loving the hat, man. Tis the season. What's going on, man?
Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all the people out there. Hope you guys have been celebrating with your families. Hopefully Santa brought you everything you wanted. I think for me, my gift is going to be a Chargers win on Saturday. So Santa got one more thing to deliver. I know he came by a lot of y'all houses already, but that's what I'm looking for. But no, I'm feeling good. It's been good to be spending time with some fam this week, and just getting ready for this last two big games for the Chargers. Coming back from Dallas last weekend, being at that game. Wish I could make another one after going back to back. Now I'm itching to like find a way out there again. So, especially with this being the home finale, unless we could find a way to win that these last two and get a home playoff game would be sweet. But yeah, man, I'm just really excited. It's that time of year, like you said, it's tis the season. I got the hat on. It's just all good vibes right now. How about yourself?
Same, man. Feeling good, man. Santa actually left me a little note in my stocking, man. He said he got something in the works for Saturday, so
Okay.
just stay tuned. He said, nah, but yeah, man, it's been a great day. Obviously, spent time with the kids. Wonderful morning, being able to kind of see them smiles on their faces and stuff from
Oh
the
yeah.
gifts that Santa brought and all that. So, great day so far. And like you said, we got something planned on Saturday, and hopefully we take care of business because then that means week 18. It's in our hands.
Yep.
Whatever we choose to do, if we want that first place in the AFC West, it's ours if we want it. So no, man, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Obviously, we got some Christmas Day games kicking off. We already saw one, Dallas, Washington. A couple other games today, and then like you said, we got the games on Saturday, and we're the first one on Saturday. So
Yep.
we got that game, the early one at 3:30 p.m. And then we have obviously the Ravens and Green Bay after us. So, would you call this a primetime game? I mean, it kind of feels like a primetime game. No, it's only game on.
Right, I'm tempted to call it prime time the way we've played in prime time this year. I kind of want it to be. It's a standalone, which kind of is like the whole meaning of prime time is you're the only ones watching. So I might lean towards calling it a prime time game.
And that's how I feel, man. And you know how we do. You know how we perform on those prime time stages. So, looking forward to it, man. But like I said, like I said, Saturday 3:30, we'll be kicking off. Let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into a preview. I'm gonna kick it over to you to start first. But what are you looking forward to for this matchup? Obviously, a little bit of preface here with last time we played these guys, man. It was ugly. It was ugly, and it wasn't bad all game. The first half it was kind of like a defensive slugfest. Wasn't much offense. It wasn't until second half where the games kind of got away from us. Too much turnovers. Their offense got a little bit clicking, but in to my terms of a beating, I don't feel like we got beat. We definitely beat ourselves. But based on that last performance and what we've been doing this year, we're playing them obviously on Saturday. What are you looking forward to see, man? What are some matchups you're interested in?
I feel like this game is just has so many storylines heading into it. You mentioned last year's game, right? We got handled, right? Justin Herbert's probably his worst game of his career. Four interceptions in one game after three in the entire season last year, which is just I couldn't believe what I was watching after the back-to-back. It was back-to-back pick sixes, I believe. And
Hmm.
to seeing that game unfold like that, I would have never guessed, especially going off of like how our last playoff appearance before last year's was with the Jacksonville. It's like, man, can't get any worse. So that's what I just keep telling myself now for this year. Now that we've clinched, like, man, I've seen the bottom. Now we got to climb our way up because it can't get much worse than that. But you look at that aspect of it. Justin Herbert bouncing back. He even mentioned it, and he really doesn't say too much, right, about um, games in particular matchups or like he's usually super like on to the next, right? Just keeping it simple. And he even mentioned this week, there's a little extra something to this because um, he'd be lying if it wasn't something that stuck with him. And so that's one. You look at Chargers won seven in their last eight. Texans have won seven in a row. Both teams fighting for that final playoff spot or top wild cards playoff spot. Both teams fighting for their division because if Texans win out, they have a chance of their division too.
Yep.
So all this going into this game is just like, man, so many big things. And then you look at it from our standpoint again, turn it back to the Chargers, home finale. So I think our crowd is going to be lit, like knowing that we've been performing so well. Supercharger uniforms are back again, so that's always a big deal for us, and we've played great in those so far. Um, man, I'm just so excited about everything, but most of all, I'm excited for us to make a statement against a team that it feels like a lot of people are kind of picking to make a run in the playoffs in the NFL media. And I see their point because they have a great defense. but I think that should fire us up a little bit as well because our defense is pretty good too. And our defense has been making plays over the last few weeks. So I'm hoping that we can feel like kind of shaded by that. Also, play a little bit more pissed off with that Denzel Perryman news being suspended these last 2 weeks. So I feel like there's a lot to prove for a lot of guys out there on this team. So I'm just really excited to see the type of performance we come out and do for that home finale, Supercharger finale, all those heading into this Week 17 matchup. Huge game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. I think honestly there really isn't a lot of separation to me when you look at these two defenses. I mean, if you look at like stat for stat, I mean, it kind of seems like there's separation, but there really isn't. I mean, you look at Houston, Texas has statistically the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a couple different numbers that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at points against, so how many points did they let up? And over obviously the 15 games, we've let up 52 more points than them. If you look at the two games where we really struggled, Colts, Jaguars, or we let up over 30 points to both of those teams. You look at those two games, and you take give or take some points there. We're not that far from where they are when you're talking about points against.
Yeah.
But the other two numbers that I'm really looking at are the yards. I'm looking at the yards. Okay, points are one thing, yards are another thing. Now we know that we're a bend don't break type team. You look at how many passing yards they're giving up a game, 176. We're giving up 179, so just 3 yards more.
Okay.
Then you jump over to rushing yards. We're not that far behind either. They're only giving up 96 rushing yards a game. We're giving up 103 yards per game. So when you look at that, it's like, hey, these defenses are pretty much evenly matched when you look at that.
Yeah.
And I can go on and on. You can talk about the pass rush. We're talking about their pass rushes versus ours. There's so many things you can point to where it's like these defenses are really similar. So the thing that I look at is that's going to be the tiebreaker for me is the offense.
Yeah.
And I look at that, and that's my matchup of the week. It's our offense versus that defense because honestly, it was kind of reversed this last week. You know, we played Dallas. We knew they had a really good offense, and I felt like our offense can match and step foot with any offense in the league because we got 10. But I looked at okay, well, what's going to be the separator? The defense. This week, I think it's opposite. I think both teams going to have really good defenses. What's going to be the separator? I think it's going to be the offense. We're going to need to be able to put some points up. We did it last week against a really bad defense. I think that rhythm, that momentum coming into this week is going to be able to really help us and traject us and really be like, you know what? Look at what we did last week. Yeah, we know it was versus a bad defense, but we were clicking. We
Yeah.
could run the ball. We could throw it to tight ends, receivers, throw it all over the field. We're going to need to replicate some of that. And it's going to be a different bit of a game flow. Like I said, way different defense we're facing in Houston, but there's nothing telling me that rhythm, that momentum from last week doesn't carry over. You know, that confidence that some of these guys are playing with right now. You don't tell me that. I have a big bounce back game for QGA right here. And I don't say bounce back as in like last week, because no, he killed last week.
Yeah.
I'm talking about last week last time when he played the Texans. I'm talking about he's going to want to make a statement. And I think we're going to get the ball to him early and often. And you're going to see some of that in my bets this week. So
Okay.
that's my matchup. Our offense versus their defense. We got to be able to show that we can put points up against the best defenses out there. And this is going to be a good test.
Ride that hot hand. A lot of good offenses do that, right? And QJ made big plays last week. Would love to see that continue. And it's something we've mentioned all year. It seems like teams are just saying, "Hey, we're still going to single this guy up, and if he beats us, he's going to beat us." And this year, Q's been like, "Yeah, I'm going to beat you guys." So
Yep.
he's been pretty good when he's been out there. I love that key matchup. It's almost the same thing as mine, but I'm singling up Justin Herbert. I mentioned it already. That was his worst performance as a pro last year in that playoff game. And
Yep.
that sucks because that sits with you. That's why a lot of people on the offseason weren't too big on Justin like they've been before. Um, as up there in that top, upper echelon of quarterbacks, which we know he is, and we see him game in and game out. So many people, especially these last few weeks, seeing what he's been dealing with not just the hand, but just the O line all year long. Like, worst O line in football and doing big things. Last
Mhm.
week was just surgical, like perfect passes left and right, pocket presence, escaping, running on a big third down. Finally got to the QB sneak again, so pushed him right in the end zone. Did it on a third
Yep.
down and got like 3 yards. Like he was
Mhm.
just great last week. So and he's been great since even with the broken hand. Like all year long, it's really only been a couple times here and there where it's just been like, you know what, didn't really love that play, but you got to take it when you're getting the rest of the play that's coming along with him. So
Exactly.
um, I think that's my key matchup because I'm just interested to see, like I mentioned, how he kind of talked about in a press conference earlier this week that it's kind of stuck with him that game last year, and I like that because it's honest, and if it hadn't stuck with him, I wouldn't have thought that. he was being truthful because a lot of the quarterback speak is not to make a big deal out of stuff like that, and especially Justin Herbert. But that was not a great performance last year, and that was tough to watch. That was tough to play through, I'm sure, and I'm sure it was tough to have to think about all offseason long. So now's your chance to go out there and redeem, and I think he will. As dialed in as he's been the last few weeks, I'm excited to see how dialed he is on Saturday.
No, man, I'm right there with you, man. And like I said, it was terrible. It was a terrible performance. And I don't like to bail anybody out. But some of those things weren't on him. I mean,
For sure.
there were a lot of drops in that game, man. A lot of drops that led to interceptions, led to pick sixes. So ultimately, he's a quarterback. Stats going to go to him. So it is what it is. But hey, let's get into this next segment here. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. It's a little bit of betting here. Bolt the door lock of the week. I'm kicking it over to you, my man who went 3 for 3 last week. Bolt the door, favorite over, and anytime. Smashed all of them. What you got, man? Bolt the door lock of the week.
Oh, let's see if I can keep the hot hand over here as well. Bolt the door lock of the week. I'm looking at our defense, right? Not loving the way that I think that they're going to talk about the Texans defense all week, which we've heard in the last few weeks, and ours kind of sliding under the radar. And I think we have a great defense still. And so I'm going CJ Stroud over zero point 0.5 interceptions. That's at plus 109, 109 on DraftKings right now. So I think I like that value as well. They're going to have to throw a little bit because I think our run defense is pretty stout right now. I think we continue to do that. I don't think they run the ball particularly well because, I mean, Woody Marks is okay. He's a fine back, but nothing special, right? Um, and then Nick Chubb is kind of, just short yardage guy, no real burst anymore. Been in the league a while, so just a dependable vet is what I would call him at this point. So I think they're gonna make CJ Stroud try to beat us through the air, and that's tough to do on this pass defense, as we know. No interceptions last week, so I'm looking for the. We didn't get it last week. Okay, I think we might get one this week. And plus, Nico is their guy. There's not a lot after that. It's kind of levels out a little bit. So I think if we kind of force CJ's hand and put him in tough spots and get that pressure like we've been getting. Tooley, 13 sacks on the year, which I think is not being talked about enough. Um, and then we got guys always making pressures. Khalil, of course, is always there. So I think we can get to him and force him to some bad throws.
No, I love it, man. I love that because, like you said, our defense really isn't getting talked about enough, especially some of those key guys. I mean, like Tooley. I mean, yeah, he did make the Pro Bowl, so he did get the respect in that kind of realm. But 13 sacks, man. What he's been doing, all the pressures that he has, tackles for losses, because he's not just a pass rusher, man. He's blowing up run plays. Like, guy's doing everything. So yeah, you're
Yep.
right, man. He's definitely not getting that much enough notoriety and talk out there on the media. But
Yeah.
love Tooley. Always gonna throw the tees up every time my boy make a play.
Every time.
Uh, but yeah, man, I love that. Um, I'm going with, like I said, who I thought was gonna have a huge bounce back game considering the game that he played against them last year. QJ over 34 and a half yards. I just think the line is super low, and I get it. I think that they just don't think it's going to be a real prolific offense type of game. So I've seen a lot of low lines. But QJ is a guy who, I mean, when he's healthy and he's playing, we're going to him early, we're going to him often, and he's a big play guy after the catch too. So I like what I'm seeing from him. Just the confidence, especially that last game. I mean, that one-handed touchdown catch was crazy.
Beautiful.
And just to see him week in, week out, have the confidence go out there and make those plays where it's been year after year, just seeing the progression for him. I think this is a big game. I think confidence wise, or I guess you could say for his confidence, this is one that I think will help propel him even more because you got to think about it. A young player, doesn't matter what sport you're in. You think about the last like really bad game you had. Now you got a chance to go back and play the same team you had that bad game against. It's
Yep.
like, okay, I got to get right. I got to get this. This has to be washed from my memory. So I got to go out there and do my thing. So hopefully he doesn't overthink it. QJ, you got this, man. 34 and a half. Love it. Over. Stamping it.
Keep balling, Q. That's what I want to see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go right into our favorite over under. What you got for me?
So this week I'm going Trey Harris over 19 and a half receiving yards. Another low line. I feel like a lot of our receiving lines are fairly low just because, I don't think these books know who's going to be that guy week in and week out, right? Um, and a lot of times Herbert's been spreading the ball all over the place. So
Yep.
20 yards for Trey could easily be one catch and run, or it could just be two catches for first downs. You know what I mean? So I feel like 20 yards is doable. His snap count has increased throughout the weeks. Even got as high as 85% 2 weeks ago. I know that was without QJ, but it just goes to
Yep.
show like if there is another injury, or let's say someone's hobbled for a little bit or needs some time, he's willing to take those positions. Greg Roman mentioned how he can play multiple positions out there.
Yep.
Um, we've been both praising his blocking ability this year, so I think him being out there for play action passes opens that up as well.
Yep.
Because I don't think Roman or Harbaugh are going to want to back away from the physicality in this game. I think they
No.
also want to prove a point as well, especially since coming off of last year's kind of beat down in the trenches. So I think we see Trey out there for the run blocking, but also, like I said, play action attempts are going to be right there for him. So I'm really liking that 19 and a half line. I feel like breakouts have been coming for him more and more, especially as the snap count's been around 50% now that he's been established.
Yeah.
Even if you take away that 85% week before, I think for the last 6 weeks he's been about 50% snap count, which is good. He's on the field a lot, and he's been making use of it.
No, I love that, man. Trey's been the person who's been getting just constant work over the last couple of weeks and kind of it's kind of been over the course of the season. You just seen his kind of workload just kind of just ramping up, ramping up. So love that call there. I mean, that's about it. That's I mean, he could get that in one catch, honestly.
Yeah.
But two catches, man, that's a done deal. So I like that. Um, favorite over under. I kind of flirted with a couple different people here. But I'm going to go Herbert, 23 and a half rushing yards.
Mm,
Taking the over. Um, a trend that I've kind of been seeing when Herbert is pressured a lot, he tends to look for the rushing outlets a little bit more. And I think this is a game where he's going to get pressured a lot. He had 66 rushing yards against the Eagles. He had 42 last week, which he didn't get any sacks. There was some constant pressure though, because you seen him kept maneuvering the pocket quite often.
yeah.
Um, excuse me, sorry about that. Um, But then, like I said, I can just go to different games where I'm like, well, where is he? Where is his rushing yards coming from? And a lot of them are in the games where he is seeing that pressure, which I mean, realistically, you could say he's been pressured all year, but
Yeah.
there's different types of pressures. So I'm going with Herbert 23 and a half over. I think especially too with him and that hand getting more comfortable, or getting more healthy. I think that you're going to be able to see him actually being able to use that offhand and actually want to make and extend plays where it's like before, the hand was hurt. Okay, yeah, I can do a little bit. And he's kind of a maniac. He's out there, a game removed and he's stiff arming with that hand. But I think there's a lot more comfortability that'll come from it being weeks removed from it. And I think this is also a game where he's going to want to right the ship too. Like you said, he's been talking about it in the media. I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities where like, hey, my receivers are plastered. Okay, let me use my legs and make something happen here. So I like that 23 and a half. I mean, he's hit that. And if I were to go through the numbers, I mean, it looks like about half of the time he's probably hit that number. Actually, he could have, honestly, it's probably a little bit more to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look through the numbers as you're going through your favorite anytime, because I do want to get a number on that. But that's my 20, that's my favorite over on the 23 and a half over rushing yards.
Good call. Team that's going to generate a lot of pressure, as we know, with our line. So, like you said, finding escape routes is there. If they blitz us, that's the easier way to get to that 23 and a half. He got that in one rush last week against the
Yep.
Cowboys. So, very doable for Justin. Wouldn't mind to see that. So, you could hit on that one. So, anytime touchdown, the one I'm locking in this week. So, you know, I do anticipate this being kind of a defensive battle, right? So the touchdowns are kind of probably going to be slim. And I also think that the Texans will do a good job of taking away some of maybe our first targets or our first looks. And they also probably won't want to see Ladd beat us because last year he had a crazy game against them. So they already know what he's capable of. And
Hmm.
a lot of teams have kind of done that this year already. I also think they're going to really try to take away that run game to put us in third and longers so that
Yep.
it is, more of a drop back for 10, and more gives more time for routes to develop, which gives Hunter and Will Anderson more time to get after the after Justin Herbert. So with all that being said, I like Trey Harris to get in the end zone, and it's kind of a sneakier pick. It's at plus 600, which the
Mm.
value is kind of crazy on, especially like I mentioned that snap count going up. And I can see him getting one in the red zone because he's out there when you need to run the ball. And mentioned the play action fake can be a possibility for this guy. So I thought last week he could have got one. He was playing really well out there, but just anybody was open last week. So we got guys like you, Lad, got some good throws their way. So I like Trey to get in the end zone this week. So I'm gonna go with him at plus 600, and I think that'd be some great juice to hit on that one.
No, I love that one because, like you said, it's always those, especially in matchups like this, it's the guys that we aren't they're not concerned about, so to say. They know what Lad can do, like you said. I mean, he put up almost 200 yards receiving in a tutty on them,
Yeah.
and nobody else did anything. So it's like, you think they're gonna let him do that again? No, he's gonna have a lot of attention on him. They know who Keenan Allen is. They know that's gonna be the safety blanket, safety valve. They see what QJ is doing. So I love the Trey Harris call, especially with him getting all the usage that he's getting. I'm going with another receiver, but similar kind of deal where now he does get a lot of first read looks, but another receiver who's out there a lot, and that's QJ.
Yep.
Going with QJ, man. Like I said, I got a big QJ game. I took him on his over on his yards. I'm taking him for an anytime TD. That's at plus 280.
Yep.
I just think it's going to be a game where I think that they're going to have to. I feel like they're going to lean on him and his ability. And like I said, I think early and often, I think this is a player that you got to get going. And I think majority of the games where you see QJ get going, it's a lot easier for our offense because you're able to use a receiver who a lot of teams, they're not putting their best corner on QJ.
No.
What it does is once he starts making plays, then it's a shift of, okay, this guy's the guy beating us now. Do we continue to let him beat us, or do we shift things a little bit? And I feel like I saw a little bit of that last week because I who was his touchdown on? It wasn't on Diggs. I can't remember who it was on, but I promise you, after that touchdown, the coverage shifted a little bit. And then I seen Diggs on him for like a play. And Diggs, I mean, he's probably past his prime. He's had a lot of injuries. But it was something that was like, okay, he's doing this type of things. We got to kind of shift it up a little bit. We got to switch it up a little bit. So I got QJ. I just think he's going to bounce back from his performance last year against them. I think couple that with, your matchup that you're looking to see, Justin Herbert bouncing back from his performance last year. I think our offense is going to look good this game. Um, it's always a scary thing when you're going against a pass rush like this team, and you talk about our O line, but they're facing the same issues. They got their tackles that are out as well,
Yeah.
just like ours are, and we got a ferocious pass rush too. So they're going to have to deal with the same stuff we got to. Let's see. We're going to jump over into getting ready to wrap up. Let's talk about our prediction. Let's talk about what we think is going to happen. Obviously, they got this game. I mean, you could tell it's two really, really good defenses. They got our over under set at 39 and a half.
Yeah.
We're getting a point and a half, or we're the favorites
Yeah.
at home. Should be. And I think that line has changed a little bit because I did see that 2.5 at one point,
Yep.
but it did come back down to 1.5. So, what are you thinking, man? What are you talking about for prediction? How are you kind of seeing this game shake out?
I think this is the game of the week for sure, right? Most implications on the line because at this point, one team could possibly, solidify their chance to win a division, right? Definitely stamps their playoff ticket as possibly the top wild card spot with a win.
Mm,
Um, Also, the Colts can be eliminated or stay alive depending on the result of this matchup.
yep.
So this is just a lot of implications all the way down the line, but most importantly involved for our Chargers, right? So. Man, at home with the division still in front of them, I think we come out and we find a way to get this game, and it's kind of been the MO of this team this year, right? Nobody thought we'd beat the Eagles on Monday night. We come out and we play and we have a gritty performance.
Mhm.
Justin plays after a week of hand surgery, right? A lot of people didn't think we were going to beat the Chiefs. Look at the sports book. We were a 6 point dog on the road. We come out, handle business in that game. It feels like this game it's going to have more of those vibes where it's going to be like, okay, who's going to find a way to get control? Is it going to be a turnover that gives us possession on their side of the field? Is it going to be a big play that we're able to make? I think we're able to make a big play before they are able to. And so that's why I'm actually going to keep it at 20-16 for the Chargers. I do think that it'll be more of a, grind it out battle. because there's so much on the line this week. Now, if there's a team that I think can pop off for another touchdown to get us in the mid 20s, I think it is us because if you're looking at their defense, I think these guys play, but three of their biggest players, three of their studs are questionable with limited participation in practice. So even if they do play, they could be be a little bit hampered. Derek Stingley, they're all pro oblique injury, so that's gonna could affect you. All it takes is one bad turn, one bad fall, one bad hit, even from friendly fire, because they're gonna be trying to get after us right on the side, and
Yep.
boom, there he goes. Kamari Lassiter has a foot.
Mhm.
Al has an ankle. So you know what I mean. A lot of things going on for those guys, and it's just that time of year where right at Christmas, right? That time of the year where people are just banged up. So for a physical team like them, that's been being physical week in and week out. You could start to see that on some of their guys, and I think we've been in a good position to overcome those things. So yeah, I'm gonna go 2016. I think Justin finds a way to make a play that's needed, and then we control the game. I would love to see us take an early lead so that we can control the ball and try to run the rock a little bit. That's what Harbaugh's gonna want to do, but I think we can attack them through the air a little bit as well, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. My prediction is not that far from yours. Same score for the Texans, but I got us at 24. So 24-16. I have us going over, just barely over the over,
Mm.
at 39 and a half there. But no, I'm seeing the same type of stuff, or I'm anticipating the same kind of stuff. Two really physical teams, but like you said, that back end for them, linebacker, two corners banged up, oblique foot, um, whatever the other one was, don't even matter. But at the end of the day, the guys are banged up. And what do we like to do? We like to pound the rock. So that's the difference between these two teams here. The Texans don't have that kind of ground and pound game that can wear on your defense, but we do. So now you got those guys who are banged up running into a Omarion Hampton, getting blocked by a
Yes,
six lineman Trevor Penning.
Scott
Man,
Matlock.
that's Scott Matlock. That's going to wear on those guys. So especially if one of those guys get lined up on a corner where it's whatever the case may happen, man, Trevor Penning get a shot at Stingley or Lassiter, and that could be something that's like, oh, this guy, you got to make a business decision. So that could be difference between touchdown or you're out for a couple plays now because you just got
Yeah, you just
mauled.
took a
So it's
hit.
like, no, I'm looking at the physicality of this game, and what stands out to me is that I just think that we're a much more physical team on offense. I think defensively, I would never say that there's a team more physical than us, but that Texan team is pretty physical. And obviously you see it in their defensive stats. They're a really good unit. So this is gonna be a really bang game where it's just two defenses, two offenses that just they one of these units have to find the way or find that will to win because it's not going to be a lot of easy opportunities in this game. But I think a Jim Harbaugh led team more often than not will find that will to win other than the opponent. So now I'm right there with you, man. Loving the calls on this one. I'm just excited. Like you said, it's a 3:30 game, standalone game. Don't got to worry about nothing else being on.
Yep.
It's at a good time too, where it's like, it ain't too early, it's not too late. This should be, and we're at home too, man. We're at home, so we're in the superchargers, man. We bringing them out again.
Yes,
It's time
sir.
to go, man. It's time to go. It's time to go 12-4, and set this stage for this Week 18 showdown for the division.
Absolutely. I mean, you teed it off perfectly from right there, so I'm going to carry on just with that. We get a huge win, and we set up a battle with the Broncos with the division on the line in Week 18. We have a chance to really not just play two of the biggest games in the last 2 weeks, in just the entire schedule, but also like kind of really stamp and solidify our name as we head into that little into the playoffs, into the tournament, right? Because we've been kind of slept on, and that's cool because when the Chargers get a lot of hype, I don't know if we buy into it or just by proxy of us like it just happening that like it's not supposed to get us that much hype, but like usually we kind of fizzle off when things are people are talking about us a little too much. Right now, we're not hearing much. You know, teams keep picking against us. They're not really hearing a lot. If you look at last week, we were underdogs at the Cowboys last week. So like for some reason, not for some reason, I get it. We're banged up in probably a really most important spot on the line that can change the game. But point still being, 7 of 8 and not really being talked about a lot, right? Putting ourselves in a position to go for the division. Still not hearing much about that because so many people are just bought in on the Broncos. We're not knowing, hey, one of the Broncos' losses is to us, right? A division battle is not going to be easy in Week 18 if they have to see us for the division, right?
Yep.
So, at Denver would be a tough place to play, but to get there, we got to handle business this week, and home finale, Supercharger uniforms. I think our fans are going to show the Chargers what a playoff atmosphere sounds like. This is essentially a playoff game already, anyways. Not where someone gets eliminated, but your positioning is being determined in this game. So, tons on the line, just a huge matchup. If you want to watch playoff football this weekend, you're tuning in on Saturday at 3:30 to watch this game because this is a heavyweight battle right here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
You ain't wrong about that. You ain't wrong about that, man. Take us out.
All right, man. So, yep, we got to control our destiny right now. So, Chargers, go ahead, get it done, man. I don't know about you, but I'm just super excited to see how this plays out, and I'm super excited to see these supercharged uniforms again, just like every time we've talked about that. So, you know, as we always say to close this thing out, till next time, bolt up.